So in the wake of what Mike Johnson claims is going to be one of the longest, if not the longest shutdown in American history, because you know that boy is not in any way, shape, or form ever going to allow the release of the Epstein files, Donald Trump has taken it upon himself to start firing thousands of workers in the midst of a government shutdown. I you not. Let's read what's going on with Donald Trump. The Trump regime has begun laying off thousands of federal workers in an effort to pressure Democrats amid the ongoing government shutdown. The RIFs have begun. The White House Office of Management Director Russell Vought announced in a post on X on Friday morning, referring to an acronym of reductions in force. A spokesman for his office confirmed the cuts had started and were substantial. Their size and scope began coming into focus later on Friday, when the administration disclosed 7 agencies had started laying off more than 4,000 workers. Donald Trump has repeatedly threatened to use the shutdown to further his long-held goal of reducing the federal workforce. By law, the federal government must give its workers at least 30 days notice that it is laying them off. After Vaught's tweet, major departments such as Treasury and Health and Human Services confirmed they were issuing notices to employees, and Homeland Security, where many of its employees are considered essential, saying it would lay off workers at its cybersecurity and infrastructure security agency. Of course, election theft, but exact details were scarce. So Donald Trump is taking advantage of a government shutdown, basically, to fire essential workers that work in positions in which they could possibly snitch on him and rat him out in the event that they catch him and his team trying to steal the upcoming midterms and then the upcoming presidential election in 2028. Now, Donald Trump has done all of this in the wake of literally destroying key patient protections under the Affordable Care Act. You know, protections like, hey, they can't stop you from being insured based upon pre-existing conditions and lifetime coverage limits and stuff like that. Donald Trump got rid of all of that the first month he got into office. Donald Trump is doing insane amounts of economic damage. If people don't have health care, if people are being laid off by the thousands, if the stock market is unstable because of Donald Trump's tariffs being levied left and right, if people who need insulin can't even afford their drugs anymore because Trump rescinded Executive Order 14087, if this is what's going on, do you actually believe the American economy is going to survive the next 8 years? Fuck no. Does it look like Donald Trump intends to leave at the end of this 4 years? Absolutely not. We're locked in. We're locked in for 8 years, chat. We're locked in for 8 years. However long he's alive is how long we're locked in for. Donald Trump has defunded children's cancer research. That man has fired thousands from the CDC in the midst of measles outbreaks all over the country. And Donald Trump is now trying to sell student loan debt to the private sector. This is what's going on right now. Donald Trump, if there was ever a game plan on how to destroy America, Donald Trump is living it out day by day by day by day by day. It's unbelievable. And people still support this shit. People support this. We gotta make the government smaller government, not even realizing the economic tsunami, the economic avalanche they're contributing. They're creating, actually. Creating. The Federal Reserve literally came out saying, hey, like, we normally would not cut interest rates right now because of the tariffs and stuff like that, but we actually are because unemployment's going up. Like, they literally said, hey, we're dealing with a lot of, like, economic instability. We can't promise that any of what we do right now is going to mitigate any sort of economic upheaval. You can basically expect a bit of a bumpy ride. This is a government takeover, the likes of which we've never seen before. And he is destroying this country inch by inch by inch by inch by inch. The American conservative voter thought this was a win for them, but it's not. It's a win for the rich. It's a win for the elites. It's a win for the ultra wealthy who you thought you were fighting. You thought you were opposing the establishment. You thought you were fighting against the power. In reality, you emboldened the powerful, enriched the powerful, and have now basically disenfranchised yourselves. And you still don't get it. There's still right-wing voters who somehow believe they've won this one. They still somehow believe they had the victory. They were surprised and celebrated and jumping up and down. They were surprised and celebrating and jumping up and down when Donald Trump defeated Kamala Harris in November. But now, America's actually afraid. America's nervous. America's concerned. America's not confident in Donald Trump. America's actually wary of Donald Trump now. And Donald Trump has earned it. In the next 2 years, we might be heading into a full-on fucking recession. Full-on recession. And of course, the predictable excuse will be, this is Biden's economy. And some people will buy it. But the average American voter, I don't think they will. I think the average American paying attention to what is going on is going to realize Donald Trump is the fucking source. And people, every time they look up, they see nothing but negative things in the media about Donald Trump. And this is one of the negative aspects of Steve Bannon's flood the zone kind of, idea is you're not actually tiring people out. What you're actually doing is conditioning them to expect nothing but negativity from you. And when that negativity goes from mean statements on Twitter, a few offensive things here and there, to actual economic pain brought to people's wallets, Gen Z, we're starting families now. We're building up trying to build up our American dream now. And Donald Trump, when he destroys that, when he burns that down, people are going to fucking feel that. People are going to feel that when Gen Xers who are, hopefully starting to plan and think about their retirement, and they look at what Donald Trump has got going on right now, they're going to be angry. They're going to be bitter, and justifiably so. Understandably so. The nation is going to turn on this man in the next 4 years. And I can guarantee you his only loyal supporters will be the actual cult members who aren't in this for a better America, a greater America, to make America great again. They're in this for the cult of personality of Donald Trump. And they're in this for the ruining of the lives of people they don't like. That's the reality of it, which is why I said, I wish that group chat was worse. I wish that conservative group chat was way worse. I hope the worst. At this point, literally accelerationism is the only answer. And I don't mean that literally, but what I do mean is that Donald Trump crashing the fuck out is the only way we get out of this. Millions of Americans are either apathetic about Trump or actually believe he is the savior, and he's not. And the apathetic and the sympathetic are both going to have one of the most significant reality checks, maybe possibly in American history, the most maybe in American history since the Civil War. So, American workers being slaughtered by Donald Trump, their lives destroyed, 4,000 workers so far, and in key positions that would probably oversee America's election security. How ironic in the wake of Donald Trump's billionaire henchmen purchasing the voting machines from Dominion Voting Systems, purchasing the entire company and renaming it Liberty Voting Systems. In the wake of that purchase, now they're firing thousands of workers from cybersecurity. How interesting. How interesting. So, with that being said, it's very clear and obvious now what's happening. Donald Trump is preparing himself either to be the king of the United States and to be dictator, or he's preparing for someone else to take over after him and act as dictator. Either way, the United States is not getting out of this one without a few marks on our face. This one is going to be a tough one. And this will be the end of conservative governance for decades to come once this is all said and done. That much I believe.